Hey everyone, welcome back. In our previous video, you saw us cleaning these beautiful stones behind me. What we discovered is there's a lot of clay and also generally soil coming through these joints from the back side of this wall. The thing is, this whole back wall of little house is basically leaning on the soil. It's covered all the way up. Let's go see it. Okay, here we are on the back side of the wall, and you can perfectly see what the issue is. We got all this soil coming all the way to the last level of the stones, and I have to dig this down all the way to the level of the floor in the house. It's about 3 meters, and then we have to also continue here and dig all the way to the end of that little stone house. The stone house is already separating the main house from the soil, so that's good. But in order to make a French drain that's gonna drain all the water down, I'll have to go all the way somewhere till here. And this is also where we have the most clay happening on the inside, here on this corner. So we definitely need to remove that. Šta ti radiš? Wish me luck, there's a lot of digging, no time to waste. Let's start. Okay, I figured it out. So this will start from the bottom, because this is where my drain needs to eventually end up, and then lead all the way down somewhere. I'll start taking these rocks. I already cleaned a little bit of branches and some little trees, and then 30 centimeters approximately like this, a strip all around this wall and then on the back wall. Let's go. Around 5 hours later, this is approximately what we have. So I leveled the soil behind the little stone oven all the way down, and I also started uncovering here part of the house. So that's the important part. Yeah, it's going slow, but we're advancing. And then we have all of this, and then all of this behind. That's gonna be tough. Oof, this is hard work, I can tell you. But let me show you something interesting. So digging this here, I guess because it was between two houses, people just were throwing everything. I found a bunch of trash, which is actually, yeah, sucks. There's a lot of plastic, all kind of things. There were also some interesting things that were buried a bit deeper and I guess stood there for long. This is some insecticide. So against mosquitoes and all kind of insects, as you can see here. And this is actually from Yugoslavia, which was previous country before Croatia became independent. So it's at least 30-40 years old. And there's a battery. You can see there, Yugoslavia, Croatia, Yugoslavia. Looking pretty neat actually. Maybe we could clean these and have them, I don't know, as a souvenir. I also found a little pot down there, as you can see. A wrench, a knife, and actually there's a whole animal here. I think it's probably goat or something. Look, all these bones. I found them here. You can see here part of the jaw with teeth. Here another one. Oh, all kind of bones. Crazy, right? You can see here There's a big wall, there's a big stone here, which is already part of the house wall. Then we have a big stone here, which for sure, well, none of these is going out. And these are actually connected to the house, or the house is leaning on them. So they are definitely structural to the house. We don't want to compromise any stability of the house, so we'll stop here. We won't go any further. You can see here that we also have a big rock here, which actually, this is the same one which starts somewhere around here and then continues all the way down. So that's the big boy there, and then another one here. Hey everyone, next morning, and we're back in the trenches. When it comes to restoration of stone traditional old houses, then most of the official sources suggest using natural materials and trying to stay away from blocking the house from breathing as much as possible. So what are we going to be doing? Look at Jarko. Šta radiš, beba? Šta radiš, beba? She wants to be in a camera. We'll start with cleaning first the stones, then putting the mortar in the joints to seal them. That's going to be lime mortar to allow house to breathe, so the moisture doesn't get trapped inside the stone walls. Then we'll put a dimpled plastic membrane, which will prevent moisture to get in touch with the stone walls. Then at the bottom, we'll start with the gravel, drainage gravel. Then we'll put a perforated pipe sloped towards here and down all the way away from the house to basically lead the water out. And then we'll continue with the gravel, 50 centimeters width, to fill all this trench, and then all the way up to here where the original soil level was and where we started digging. And the same here. Probably also geotextile, maybe even under the gravel, wrapping all the way from the membrane down under the gravel, and then here. But definitely we need to put it here to prevent soil from mixing with the gravel and eventually clogging the pipe. So yeah, that's our chosen solution. Let me know if you think this will work, if you have experience with these kind of old stone houses. Hopefully we're on the right track. This is the maximum depth that we achieved because we definitely shouldn't move none of these big stones, not compromise the stability of the house. So yeah, we'll deal with what we have. We managed to get at least halfway down here, and here I would say about 80% down. So that's going to mitigate a lot of water pressure coming from the soil. Hopefully that's going to be enough. And enough talking, let's get to work. Let's clean these joints. Okay, that's done. And if you wonder what I've been using, the good old wire brush. I wasn't afraid to use it on this wall because anyway these stones are going to be covered with gravel. Then we have a big fabric brush and also a hammer. And this already looks quite neat. And now let's connect our power washer and give this a final rinse so we can point the joints. Look how that wall is shining. And now let's leave them both there to dry for a day. We have a nice sunny day, so tomorrow there'll be just moisture enough so we can point them nicely and continue with our trench. Okay, the day after I checked the joints, they're pretty dry. Let's mix some material and point them. Okay, that's done. You saw there was no fancy technique happening here. So I basically just put on the gloves and just push everything with my hands inside. It doesn't need to be fancy, it doesn't need to look good. This is all gonna be covered in soil, well, gravel, so it's not gonna be exposed. So yeah, that was quite fast. Probably took me 2.5 hours to do all of this. But now I've started thinking about something, and as I was looking here, I think we're gonna divert from our original plan. Well, let me show you here. You see that we made a 50 centimeter strip here, which I planned then to fill with drainage gravel. But here we have this little piece of soil. So yeah, the change of plan is, so instead of filling this with gravel, I'll just take all this soil out, and then we have an empty little lot here. It's gonna be down to the level that I already dug here, and then we don't need to backfill anything here. I also did this for nothing, but it's okay. I'll scrape them down later on, and then we'll point everything together, so we're gonna have a nice pointed wall everywhere here. Yeah, I know, a lot of work, but since I already came this far, this definitely will be a better solution, and it'll make sure that no moisture comes from this side of the house. Check this out. So I advanced quite good. All of this was filled with soil like half an hour ago, and now I reached these two huge roots, or well, this one is still a full tree. The neighbor suggested to pay a little excavator because yeah, that it will be very hard to take it by hand. But look, I already applied a bit of shear force, and with the hammer I broke the roots, and now I'll try to take this bad boy out. It's already, I got it already enough so I can move it. Let's see. And then after that one, this one is going down. Oh, hit the camera. Let me move it. Nice. Look at that tree. I managed to get it out completely. We definitely want to have nature and some plants around the house, but trees like these are too big, and they actually have huge roots which spread, and then they get into foundations. And for these kind of old stone houses like ours, it's definitely not good to have them around. And ta-na-na-na-na-na, look what we have here. I managed to cut at least to some smaller chunks the big tree that was here. I was so surprised that I even managed to get it out. Honestly, this was a huge piece. Look at that big boy. We'll let it dry a bit, and then it'll serve Frano for winter to have some firewood. Look at that beauty. I'm so amazed with how well this turned out. We came down almost to a ground level here. It's just a bit raised, and we'll leave it so because of this big rock. And here one and there one that are not moving. But yeah, we uncovered this gomila, the drywall, which looks absolutely stunning. I think we'll give it a rinse and then point the joints, close a little part here, and then we'll have a very nice looking wall. And probably this is gonna be a place for a little tool shed or something. What do you say? Give us your opinion. What would you put here? I think I dug out about seven cubic meters of soil. Plus, look at this. Could you believe that all of that plus all of this was there in that space? Crazy. And we have some trash that I separated, so now we're gonna bring it to a trash can. And guess who's gonna do that? Ta-da-na-na-na-na.
Ooh, I'm the winner. Yes.
Paul graciously decided to join the hustle here. And also good news, our good neighbor fixed our chainsaw. So now I'll chop these to a decent size so they can fit in Frano's fireplace and he can use them for winter. You can see Pao navigating or trying to navigate these
Dodging, you know.
harsh waters full of trees and branches. Whoa, that was a big one. The gym paid itself off.
Gym is paying off.
Can Pao take this all the way to Frana's? Ta-da-na. Ta-da-na. Ta-da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Whoa, she managed the steep hill. Very well done. Here we have some very tricky obstacles. Stairs. This is like a Ninja Warrior park. She's gonna do reverse, okay. Smart decision. Up. And there you go. She made it. The worst part is behind her.
Yeah.
Woo. By the way, I also carried something. Let me get rid of this.
Alright, so now it's Gabriel's turn. We're gonna see if he can make it with this wheelbarrow full of stones. And he's not giving up. He's just paddling more and more. Let's see. Yeah. Woo! First obstacle passed. I think this is the most difficult obstacle in this path, which Gabriel already passed. Very good, very good.
Easy, lightweight.
Okay, this was the third obstacle in the path, and he is managing. Very good, very good. Yay!
Everything starts with a dream. Never don't give up. And look what arrived. So we have two things here. We have our isolation for the roof, and then we have the material for our drainage here, the perforated pipe, the membrane, plastic membrane, and we have our drainage valve here. You can see that it's I think this is 16 to 32 millimeters. It's quite bigger because its function is to allow water to pass through, so that's why you need bigger rocks and not very, very thin sand that would actually hold water and moisture, right? Now let's get all of this to the house. I brought the first wheelbarrow of gravel and also geotextile, the perforated pipe, and our dimple membrane. So now we'll install all of this here down. Let's start so you can see what I'm talking about. And this is where I jumped on a brand new pipe and broke it. I thought that's gonna be easier, but I'm sweating here. Putting the perforated pipe actually and leveling it, it wasn't so easy because I was doing it alone. Let me explain now. You have a perfect picture of what exactly I'm doing. You can see perfectly here what I'm talking about. We have we pointed the joints with lime, right? Which will make sure that house can breathe, but any big flush of water, if it enters there, will not end up passing on the other side of the house. Then we have a dimple membrane. You can see these dimples here. They're always facing the house because they allow for a bit of space between the membrane and the house. If any moisture collects there, it can evaporate quicker. Then down we have, we started with geotextile, wrapping from down all the way here. Then we have our perforated pipe, right? Which is sloped a little bit down towards here to make sure the water can slide and exit the system. And then we have our big gravel, right? Flush, so there's no tiny sand particles there. Geotextile separates the gravel from the soil, which means soil will not mix with the gravel and end up maybe clogging the pipe. I said the gravel allows water to move through freely, so when it rains or water comes from the sides, then all the water will go down quicker and not keep there. And if there's enough water and it starts rising, it's gonna enter our perforated pipe. This pipe has holes, and then since the pipe is sloped, it's just gonna exit over there. I just have to finish it's about this level, right? Where the soil originally was, and then I'll wrap our sand like a burrito to make sure that soil doesn't mix. And yeah, that's the idea behind the system, so-called French drain. And with that, I'll finish this video. As always, thanks for watching and peace. Bye bye. See you in the next one.